Alright, so in this project, what we are going to do, we are going to learn how to use our AI camera. So in this project, we are going to learn how to use our little Husky lens camera. So the Husky lens has a screen on the front and it's got a little camera on the back. And there's a couple of key things that we need to know about our Husky lens camera. Is it's got a little toggle knob here that's going to walk us between the various algorithms that it has built into the camera, and then it's got a little right button that is going to allow us to store information such as taking pictures and things like that for it. And it also needs to have its own separate power supply, so you're going to need a cable for your microbit, and you're going to need a cable for your Husky lens itself. So what we're going to do is, let's do a little bit of use of the of the Husky lens first. So let's plug it in here, and so it's going to come on, and you're going to get a little icon. And when you move through with the little toggle knob, you'll see at the bottom where you'll see the different text. So if you go all the way to the left, you'll see face recognition, and then you'll go object tracking, object recognition, line tracking, color recognition, so you'll be able to train it to see different colors, tag, object classification, and general settings, where you can set different things with the Husky lens itself, screen brightness, things like that. We're going to do object classification for this activity. And what I want to do is I want to identify my cat, and I want to classify my octopus. So I'm going to call this a cat, I'm going to call this an octopus. So what you're going to first do is we need to first take a picture of it. So when you move over, you're going to see a little yellow square, and when I click the button, you'll get a little kind of crosshair, and it's a little hard to see in the camera because the crosshair is still tiny. But when the crosshair appears and you'll see a little square, that means you're going to be ready to take a picture. And when you take the picture by clicking the little top right button, it'll say click again to continue, and that means it's learned it. You'll see object ID 1. That means my cat is now stored in slot 1. And now I'm going to do my octopus over here. Okay. And so I'm going to click the button again. And now I'm going to click again while it says learn. And so now my octopus is in ID 2. So I can keep doing this until I get all, I think I can store up a 10. So I can, now I've got 2 things classified. And we're going to stop there for right now, because I just want to do a comparison of 2 things. So I've got 2 pieces of data stored in my Husky lens. Okay. Now, your Husky lens is an I2C, so I've already got my cable plugged into I2C. I've made it a little longer so I can more easily navigate here. And I'm going to plug it into my I2C port onto my shield. And I've got my microbit already plugged in. Okay. And let's code my microbit so that I can use the data I've now got stored on my Husky lens. So in my on start block, the first thing I'm going to do is get this block from the Husky lens. And how you get that block is it's just an extension again. You just go to the extensions and you type Husky lens and you hit enter, and there's your DF Robot Husky lens. You just double click that and the Husky lens block will install, just like every other extension that MakeCode has. You'll click that block for Husky lens, and the thing that you'll need to do is you'll need to initialize it, and I always put that in the OnStart block. Now there's a couple of things that I like to do with this is sometimes it crashes on me, I have found. So what I like to do is I'm going to put a show icon of a little heart, and that's just going to tell me that the program has downloaded safely. Then I'm going to put another icon right after it, which is a little check mark, and that's going to show me that the program has initialized the I2C okay, because it's going to keep running this block until the I2C port has identified the Husky lens. Okay? And I'm going to put in a small little pause block here of just the 500 milliseconds, just to slow down the program a little bit, just to make sure that I notice the check mark. Okay, and then I'm good to go. Then the next step I need to do is from Husky Lens in the OnStart, I want to make sure I'm picking the right algorithm to run. And so since in my Husky Lens I use the little toggle to go to object classification, in that second block here in the Husky Lens, I'm going to drag over my switch algorithm block, and instead of face recognition, I'm going to do object classification. Okay, so I could have done object recognition, right? I could have done object tracking, so I could have had an object move around and kept it within the frame. Okay, we'll do another video on all of these, but object classification I think is one of the easier ones to do. And so we're going to start with this one, and I want to make sure I've picked the right algorithm. Alright, so that's all that goes in my OnStart block. Right. Now we're going to start our code in the forever block. Okay. So the first thing I need to do is get the data that is now stored in my Husky Lens. To do that, again, I go back to my Husky Lens block. I'm going to get the data that is stored. Boom. Right, so it is stored and it's put into the result. Right. So now I've got ID1, ID2. Okay. Now I want to do something with it. Right. I want to retrieve it. So I'm going to actually do an if statement here. And there's multiple ways again that you can do this. So I'm going to go to my logic. I'm going to go to an if statement. And what I want to do is I want to check if it's object 1 or object 2. So I'm going to go to Husky Lens. And notice down here where I've got Husky Lens, check if ID 1 is learned from the result. So I'm going to go here and do that. Okay, so if Husky Lens sees ID 1 and it's learned from what is saved, right, because I've requested the data and saved it into the result. Okay, so you can kind of think of result as like a variable, right? That's the word result as a variable. So it's now saved it, so it's now stored what it sees. Right, I'm going to want it to show me the number 1 on the microbit. Okay, I could have it potentially play me a sound if I wanted to. So I could go to music. I could say, hey, play me a song, right? Something like that when it sees my cat. Okay, I also can have it write me something on the Husky Lens. So when I go back to Husky Lens, I can go down here and see where it says Husky Lens show custom texts. I'm going to put that in here, and in here I'm going to say cat, right? And I'm going to say show me at 150, 100. 00 for the Husky Lens is in the upper left corner, and so 150, 100 is going to be somewhere down here-ish, kind of toward the center, roughly. Okay. But now if I want to show my octopus and do something with it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this entire if statement. Boom. And I'm going to put it right past that if there. Okay. So if it's a 2, so now you can probably see I could have a series of these. I could also done this with an if-else statement, right? There's lots of different ways to do this. I'm going to have it show a 2. Here I'm going to have it play a different melody. Okay, and here I'm going to have it say octopus at the same location. And now I'm going to download this to my microbit. Okay, and notice it's still got a heart. Right, but it hasn't changed to the check mark yet because I haven't plugged it into my shield, so the I2C hasn't been activated yet. Okay, so hopefully when I plug this into my shield, The program runs. I now got a check mark, so it's now identified the Husky lens, and I've got a check mark. Okay. And now it has an object 1, which is my cat. Object 2 is my octopus. There we go. There's my octopus. And it says octopus on my screen. Let's see if I can. And now you can see the cat on the screen. And now if I move my octopus over, you can see octopus on my screen now, and it says 2 on my microbit. Okay? And you can kind of confuse it a little bit. I'm just going to kind of try to hide it. Right? So now it thinks it's a cat. Okay? So if I just set it down, it's going to keep running. Alright, so I might end up having to decide that if it's just a black screen, right, create another object, right, otherwise this is going to keep going back and forth for it. So I'm actually going to kill the power. But that is how you train your Husky lens to do object classification, and I can have a series of these. Pretty cool.